everybody. Podcast time. It's me, Thunder.
And I'm Lightning.
um, so like I was just saying, we're gonna keep it short. So I think I'm handling the news, basically.
Yeah, sure.
So I just wanted to say real quick before we got started, the episode of this podcast that aired earlier today. I hope the title is good. I was trying to pick an evocative title because the conversation that you and I had about Jonathan Majors and the various conversations that came off of that is like I think one of my favorite discussions we've ever had. I listened to the whole thing again, and I don't love to like brag. It's not typical that I'm like that thing I did is pretty good, but like I brought up good points. You brought up good points. We both sounded like we knew what we were talking about. It was a really cool discussion. And I do have some follow-ups.
Okay.
Some new news has. So I have three. I'm
gonna double check if I have anything.
Oh yeah, sure. I have three sort of mini updates to stories we talked about last time. So the first update is that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is now confirmed for Disney+.
Awesome.
It's going to be on Disney+ the same time as Spider-Man Homecoming. It's like the 15th or the 19th or some shit. But it's coming. Can't help but notice it's after the trial. But there's that. I did find out a little bit about the trial because the article I read, it was called like, it used a lot of big words, so forgive me. But it was basically like, they filed a very regular like agreement of like you can talk with her and she can talk basically it was just like everyone's going to be safe during this agreement, but you can still talk with each other. The article made it sound like it was like par for the course for this type of case.
Okay.
But something that the article did mention that I did not notice is that he is, I don't know if he's countersuing. I don't think he is because that would be a whole different thing. But his claim is the exact opposite. His claim is that she beat him up. So, and his like team, his legal team, their statement was like super like aggressive. It was like, I can't believe that the court is going ahead with this fake trial, even though there's so much evidence to. So I was like, once again, everything's alleged, and I'm not. I have no opinions. But I just thought that was so interesting. I was like, that's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened with Johnny and Amber.
Exactly.
How it was just like, you abused me. No, fuck you. I abuse you or whatever. Yeah, I said it wrong, but you get the point.
Right. Yeah, no, I think Disney made the right choice keeping quiet until things come out. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they waited till the trial was over to release that movie. Like, it'll get released one way or another,
right.
But
I think they waited as long as they could. They probably waited as long as they could have, legally speaking. Like, I think that something is like, you can release Ant-Man 3 on Disney Plus no later than this date.
Right.
We'll grant you that. We know it's a rough and tumble out there.
We'll see what happens. I genuinely forget my positioning last week. I have a feeling I assumed he did it, and
we didn't say either or. We were very good about staying completely out of it. Everything's alleged. I made a point to say that it's looking like he's guilty.
Well, that's what I was trying to say. I think we were at least hinting at the fact that it's looking like he probably did it, but I think Disney's got the right idea. Hey,
hello, what's up?
Hey, Toga, welcome on in. Thanks for joining us. I think Disney's got the right attitude, and I think societally, I think I said that correctly.
Yeah.
That's kind of the attitude we should have towards it. Maybe let's not burn people at the stake till we have all the information.
Right. No, and I think we're seeing and maybe depending on how this case settles, this will help fuel this, but I think we're seeing a turning point in like people not being so like trigger happy with cancel culture. Like, I feel like a few times over the last couple of months I've seen someone like allegations about this kind of famous person or about this, and people just sort of like waited until something was said before they like canceled or did not cancel one way or the other. And I think that's obviously the smarter thing to do. Once again, not to beat a dead horse, but I go back to the James Gunn conversation. James Gunn made one tweet. He had like a pedophile joke, I think, like 16 and a half years ago. And some angry fan found that. And Disney was like, oh, well, you found it. Get him out of there. And it's just like, that was way too quick and way too final. Like, we can't be doing that. Like, obviously, and I've said this before, too, I think when we look back on all this, cancel culture is going to be viewed as a net positive. But at a certain point, it becomes so, like...
It's mob justice.
Right.
It's immediate, it's quick, it's brutal, and...
Right.
You need information first.
Right. No, exactly. If it's black and white, if it's so cut and dry what the person did, yeah, fuck them, cancel them. They sound like they suck. But in cases like this is why I think Disney has made such a great point, because I haven't seen anyone online being like, fuck Jonathan Majors. Like, everyone's just waiting. Like, yeah, it sounds like he did it, but maybe he didn't. Let's see.
Well, in all of this to say, I think there's been just enough turned over cases, or enough, like, the one that sticks out to me right as we were hitting, I feel like right at the beginning of this turn that we're taking, there was, did you hear Bob Dylan molested a kid in the 60s?
Oh, and that one was like totally fake, right? That was
Bob Dylan was like, I'm not even gonna entertain that.
Right.
And then they were like, oh yeah, he wasn't even on the same continent as that person.
That's right.
When they claimed that this happened.
Right. No, and that's what sucks, because obviously if a victim comes forth, we should believe them. But sometimes they're straight up lying. And it's really
that's
hard
the thing.
to, like,
I don't
sometimes
know if
it's really
you should...
difficult to determine that.
I feel like we're kind of coming... Excuse me if this is a quick thought that I'm coming to, or a quick decision that I'm coming to. It might be where we were at before cancel culture, which wasn't great. I feel like we are, like you said, I think it's going to be a net positive, but I think you got to kind of sit back and wait for the facts. I don't think you believe anybody just because they say something. I think you take in the facts. Well,
see, I think that's where, like, law and shit comes in. Like, if someone says a serious accusation,
I think you take them seriously.
I think it should be taken seriously.
At the very least, you take them seriously.
Right.
But I think
when you take it over to canceling someone, which is not a legal term, you know.
Yeah.
Like Bill Cosby is a perfect example. Like, someone came out and was like, Bill Cosby did this, and then like 16 other people came out and were like, yeah, he did this to me too. They were all telling the truth, and that guy fucking sucks. But with the case of Bob Dylan, someone was like, yeah, he sucks. And it's like, okay, hold that thought. Click. You're lying.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I'm saying is, somebody says something, take it seriously, find out the real information, do your absolute best to figure out what's going on, and then make your decisions.
And then cancel them. Everyone's been cutting out that middle part. It's just been like, oh, that's what you're saying about this person? Well, boop, 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 they're canceled. We skipped all the middle.
Right.
And I feel like Disney, and for a greater part of the, like, fan base, the consumer base for all this stuff, is starting to consider all those middle parts that they were skipping once. I just think some people get excited about cancel culture for some reason.
Well, we should move on soon, but I think before cancel culture there was the thought of people weren't taking a majority, if not all, as they are now, these cases, these accusations seriously. And in recent years, they've all been taken very seriously, almost over the line in the fact that people jumped to conclusions.
Right.
I think we're finally going to see a balance in both. I think everybody's going to be taken seriously when they say things like this, but also we're going to wait and hear what information comes out.
People keep
hey, I can hear us in the hallway.
People keep telling me Chris Pratt is canceled, and I have no idea what's going on.
Oh, it was
What's his Mario voice voice that bad. No, it was something else.
He did, I think it was, he did some Trumpy stuff, I think.
I think what I heard was he did some like overly Christian stuff that was sort of like laced with like he probably voted for Trump stuff.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've also heard that, and I don't know exactly why.
Yeah, I'm also sort of tentatively in like maybe I shouldn't like that guy, but also I don't think it's not I don't think Chris Pratt's thing is nearly as big a deal as Bill Cosby's or Jonathan
and I think
Majors.
That's why he's Garfield and Mario and all that stuff.
Right.
I think he's just making some perfectly legal life decisions that the rest of us may not make.
Right.
And you can't really cancel him for that.
It's when he takes the next step into like radicalizing his opinions. Then maybe
that's the difference,
him.
Right? I mean, if
that's the difference between Chris Pratt and
Gina.
Gina Carano. Exactly.
She could say I voted for Trump. She's not going to lose her job at Disney. She says I voted for Trump. Also, I hate trans people. Was that her thing? And you should too. That's when it's like, okay, let's see. We'll see you later.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When Gina Carano's like, also trans people suck. The insurrection happened for a reason. It's like, all right, maybe your Star Wars
days
career is over, and we're just gonna move on to something else.
They could have recast her. I wouldn't have been upset. I don't
give a shit. I never gave a shit about that character. The fact that in season 3, Creed was just like. Apollo Creed was just like, yeah, she's doing some other shit. I don't know. Anyways, I was totally fine with that.
That worked. That did work. You're right. I didn't care about her either. But like with Disney shaking in their boots about Kang with that character, I think if people get fired for being shitty or, God forbid, somebody died, I think they think I care way more than I do if they cast somebody else.
Right. That's a great point.
Like if they were like, Tom Holland's not Spider-Man anymore because he wanted money, so we got somebody else, then I'd be like, fuck you guys. He was doing awesome. Why would you do that? But, and this didn't happen.
Right.
Nobody quote me here, but if they were like, Tom Holland did, well, you know what? I won't even say anything, just so there's no sound bit of me saying something.
Right.
Tom Holland did this shitty thing, so we got rid of him. No more Spider-Man. I'd be like, no, get another Spider-Man.
Right.
Get somebody else. Yeah. Sure, you did the right thing, but get someone else.
I know that we're three Spider-Man actors deep at this point for various reasons, but I would be okay if they were like, this is Tom Holland's Spider-Man, just not played by Tom Holland.
Right, exactly. No,
okay,
same.
So hold on.
Yeah, we got some stuff.
When is J.K. Rowling going to actually be canceled? I've been asking that every day I wake up for the last 6 years. They literally just keep announcing new projects that she's attached to. There must be some like stone cold contract involved with her.
Well, nobody can make Harry Potter content without her.
I think contractually it has to
be.
They
kind of have to. It has to be that, right?
Right.
What else would it be?
According to an article made 2 days ago, it says people want to cancel Chris Pratt for being part of the Zhao Church. Yeah, see, I have no idea
unless
what that
they're doing something to hurt themselves or other people, I really don't think you can cancel him for his ideologies.
If this Zhao Church turns out to be the Children of God cult, then sure. But let me just quickly Google. Oh, I could actually visit there if I wanted to. I got the. Oh, this is actual non-denominational church located in Lake Travis. We exist to teach people how to live real life. Okay, this just seems like a normal church. I don't know. I'm not going to do any more research. I don't care.
Oh, hey, your message wasn't highlighted. It's apparently like controversial. We'll look into it. I believe you.
I don't.
I'm sure they're doing something weird, but is it actually harming people?
Well, that's the thing. If this is fucking Pizzagate 2, then yeah, cancel Chris Pratt. But if he's just part of a weird church, he can play Star-Lord. I don't care.
Right. We talked for so long about this. What were our other bits of news?
One more, because I already did 2. The Ant-Man one and the...
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Sure.
The other small update to a news story we talked about last time was that it was just sort of soft announced. It was just like talked about in an interview that Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie, the one that's going to take place during the Mandalorian Ahsoka time period, They said it's going to be an Avengers-style team-up movie.
Oh, well, we know what that's going to be like. I mean, granted, let there be a few more shows that come out, but, like, Ezra's going to be there. Ezra. Pretty sure it's Ezra. Ezra's going to be there. Ahsoka's obviously going to be there. Mando's going to be there. Boba Fett. Boba Fett's the woman who played Mulan.
Yes.
I can't remember her
Fennec
character.
Shand.
Yes.
And I would like to throw my hat in for Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, exactly.
I don't know who would play him, but
well, I
there's
think
no
they'll do what they've been doing, just CGI.
Because I was thinking about this, I was like, my brain, I was literally like, it'd be stupid if Obi-Wan showed up. Oh yeah, he's dead. That's where my brain was at. And then there was someone else where I was like, oh, Andor's obviously not going to show up because he's like 40, 50 years ago. Because I'm just thinking about the TV show.
Oh yeah, he's also canonically dead. Yeah,
he died right before New Hope. Rogue One.
2 minutes before New Hope.
Rogue One, I know it's silly, and I know it would get memed, but Rogue One...
There's a subreddit called Chris Pratt is an asshole. Oh, that's nice.
Oh. Rogue One should be called Star Wars 3.9. That's what it is.
Sure.
It's like a backdoor prequel to a movie we all love. I don't know. It's so interesting to me.
You're telling me they got Dave Filoni, the guy who's been working very closely with the guy who made the Iron Man movie and started the Avengers, which
Dave
is
Filoni,
also...
correct me if I'm wrong, is basically the Kevin Feige of the Star Wars TV verse at this point, right?
I think Kennedy is still the head.
Sure.
Everybody's pushing for him, I'm pretty sure. She's been around. I'll give her this. She's been around a hell of a lot longer than I thought she was.
Oh, yeah, dude. She produced Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, she's done a lot of shit. I'll give her that. I think she's a little past her prime.
She has a seasoned, decorated career. She has done nothing but harm Star Wars, in my opinion, since they made her CEO. Or president, rather.
She's been involved in a lot of awesome projects. I'm sure she wasn't a poison to any of them. I'm sure she did a great job.
Yeah.
I think she's just over the hill at this point.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But it really seems like they're finally like, hey, Marvel just keeps doing it right. Why don't we do that with our other IPs? And it's like, yeah, how's about Star Wars? What if we made a bunch of TV shows, had some really cool main characters, and then what if they met up to do some shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It makes sense.
I think...
Yeah, also,
I don't know.
They keep... retconning isn't the right word, but I can't think of the right word. But they keep going back and making Luke cool again, which makes me happy, because he was really cool, and his story in the George canon and, what would have happened after is really cool. I'm glad he's not just a senile asshole of an old man, and that's just what we get to know happens to Luke Skywalker.
Before Luke Skywalker showed up in The Mandalorian and Boba Fett, he had, like, a crazy, detailed, really neat, intricate backstory that we saw every moment of, and then he had a really cool ending the last couple moments of his life. There's a really weird middle where it's like, what the fuck is happening?
I'd love to make that middle as small as we possibly can and fill it up with some really cool Luke Skywalker stuff.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But I think that's all the news. Do we want to talk about our weeks?
I want to talk about my week real quick. Did you want to talk about your week?
You can go ahead. I'll have a few things to say, I'm sure.
Okay. So I've been writing D&D a lot, and when I do that, I don't really do much else. Masked Singer continues to be the worst show on television.
Stop watching it.
What? Oh. So I watched. I've been really into horror movies. If anyone has any recommendations for horror movies, please throw them at me.
We watched all of the Jeepers Creepers, right?
No, we watched the first one.
Oh.
There's 3 more.
I thought there was only 2 more. There's 3 more?
They just made a new one late last year.
Oh, shit. Okay.
It's called Jeepers Creepers Reborn, I believe.
Okay.
I believe it's 1, 2, 3, and Reborn. I think that's what they're called.
You like Jeepers Creepers?
Jeepers Creepers was great. I really liked the first Jeepers Creepers.
I'll watch the next ones with you.
Elevated, like from a B+ to a solid A by Mrs. Peacock showing up.
Oh yeah,
she's
yeah.
fantastic. I really like her. Anyways, and then all that like time travel shit. It was really cool. I just found out that Tubi has a Giallo section, which is exciting. Just bottom of the barrel Italian cinema. I'm so excited. Tubi also has all 4 Ring movies. It has Ringu, Ringu 2, Ringu 0, and the American Ring. So I'm going to get into those too. But anyways, I watched the Babysitter movies. There's 2 of them. They're on Netflix. They're from 2019 and 2020.
Oh, okay.
And I watched.
I thought we were talking about that fucking Vin Diesel movie.
No, the Pacifier.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah. No,
if you told me it was called The Babysitter, I'd be like, yep.
Right.
That's what it is.
No, the Pacifier, I believe, is a pun on his, because he's like I've never seen it. I don't care. The Babysitter. There's 2 movies. They were released very quickly, so there's probably going to be a third one. I really hope there isn't. The first Babysitter movie was really good.
Okay.
I liked it a lot. It was essentially, here's what happens with the babysitter, and you get this from the trailer. Little kid, he's too old to have a babysitter. He's like 12 or 13, but he still has one, and she's super hot, and everyone's jealous of him because of his hot babysitter. And his friend convinces him like, you should stay up one night and see what your babysitter does when you go to sleep.
Oh shit!
Turns out she's part of a satanic cult, and she sacrifices people in his living room. And
I love it.
He sees her do it. Then the rest of the movie becomes like him essentially like Home Alone style, one by one, taking out the people in her group. It ends in like a 15, like probably like 8 to 15 minute long conversation between kid and babysitter, and it's just like so intense and so like the cinematography is great, and it's a whole like, I'll do this, but if you do this, you'll shoot me. But if I do this, then you won't get to do It's like one of those scenes, and it's just like so expertly shot. And like after it was done, I like I didn't realize I was holding my breath. It was so cool. That first movie is really good. Can't recommend it enough.
You're already selling me. That sounds really cool.
Yeah. Called The Babysitter. It's on Netflix. The sequel was hot garbage.
Really?
The sequel felt like it wanted to be Evil Dead 2, but it wasn't. It was just bad. And it really sucks because one of my favorite actresses of all time, Jenna Ortega, has a prominent role in Babysitter 2, which is called Babysitter Killer Queen, is what it's called.
Okay.
It's just so not what I wanted. They turned the like lore all the way up to like crazy, but they still like don't explain enough. It's not the same type of movie. It's like I don't know. It's not what I expected or wanted from a second Babysitter movie. They came out really quickly. That 2019 and 2020 is when these movies released.
Yeah. Which you think would almost, unless it's a totally different team, you think that the mojo would still be going from the first one.
Right, because I would like to compare The Babysitter to Fear Street, which is another Netflix original horror franchise that came out super quickly. It was like 2016, 2017, 2017 or something like that.
Oh shit, yeah.
And that was like when those 3 movies came out. Those movies are fantastic, but you can also tell that Fear Street Part 1, 2, and 3 is one story. It almost has the pacing of like a 6-part TV show.
Yeah.
But this movie, you can really tell that like they had an idea for The Babysitter. It did well, and they were like, how can we do a sequel? And someone was like, well, we weren't gonna do a sequel.
Right.
And then they made it, and it's just okay. It really leans more into the comedy of it. Like, Scream has always advertised itself as a horror comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And more often than not, I don't laugh, which is not a bad thing because I'm more interested in the horror aspects of it anyways. And the Scream movies, give or take 1 or 2 of them, are like really exceptional, really well thought out horror movies. But every time I see horror comedy, my brain goes like Scream.
Mm.
And what I got with The Babysitter 1 was a really solid 90-minute horror movie. And what I got with Babysitter 2 was a tongue-in-cheek comedy that sort of has to do with the characters of the first one. I don't know. It was not good. I recommend watching them both. I think both of them are worth a watch. Just keep in mind that the second one is not what you want, and it's not as good.
Yeah. I do have a recommendation.
Sure. Yes. Lay it on me.
I've been holding this one off, but you're starting to go out. You're branching far enough out that I feel like this series is worth a shot. I think you're seasoned enough where it seems like you're not gonna shy away because of the style of horror potentially.
Okay.
I think you should watch the Paranormal series.
Oh.
Paranormal Activity. Sorry, I should have
That's not what I
specified.
thought you were going to say. I've seen the first 4.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The
The
story
fourth one-
gets really...
The fourth one, I don't know if you remember this because it was a long time ago. The girl in the fourth one is Catherine Newton, who played Ant-Man's daughter in the latest Ant-Man movie.
I didn't know that. Have you seen Guillermo del Toro's...
Curiosity is on Netflix. I've heard about it. I've heard it's really
I haven't
good.
seen it. That sounds really cool,
It's
too.
definitely on my list. I also meant to mention, I also watched, speaking of Catherine Newton, I also watched Freaky. It was essentially Freaky Friday, except Catherine Newton's character switches bodies with a violent serial killer, and the violent serial killer is played by Vince Vaughn.
Oh,
So
interesting.
he's essentially Jason from Friday the 13th, but they Freaky Friday into each other.
Oh.
And it was like really good. I liked it a lot.
What's it called? Graveyard Hunters? Could you check that out? The first one's really good. The second one is okay.
Graveyard Hunters?
I think that's what it's
Graveyard
called.
Keeper?
No.
that's the name. Graveyard Hunters.
Or it's
Yeah, it's
Grave-
Counters?
Can I see the picture?
Sorry, there isn't one. This?
Nope. Damn. I gotta look into it. It's
Not Ghost Hunters, right?
no, it's Grave something. It scared the absolute shit out of me as a kid. Also VHS. You watched VHS,
and
right?
now we have to bring up VHS. So, I think VHS.
I also recommend The Nun. It feels like it could be a D&D story about horror.
Ooh,
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard good things about The Nun as well. VHS. I refuse to watch more VHS movies.
I watched the second one.
Why did you do that to yourself? The other day I was talking with my friend Jen, who loves horror movies, and I was like, recommend me some horror movies. And she recommended, hold on, I don't remember the name of it, but it should be right at the bottom of our conversation. She recommended, she recommended As Above, So Below is the name of the movie she recommended. And I looked up a trailer, I looked up some stuff about it, and I was like, ooh, this one might be crossing the line. This one might be too scary. And I was like, why do I think that, though? And it's because it's a found footage movie. I think that VHS has ruined me for found footage movies for the rest of my goddamn life. My mom was like, what's a VHS? I started describing them to her. This was 2 days ago. I had to stop. I literally didn't describe the two super creepy ones.
That
to her.
is the scariest movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, it's definitely the movie. Maybe it's not the scariest, right? But it's definitely the movie that fucked me up the most.
I think that's the best way to put it.
I saw Paranormal Activity when I was too young, and I had trouble falling asleep for a week or two. I think of shit from VHS. I saw VHS for the first time 4 years ago, and I think it was the only time. I still think of shit from VHS. Oh, yeah.
And I think you nailed it. It might not be the scariest by definition. It fucked me up the most.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just so not realistic, but they're the one.
I was also going to say realistic.
The one where the couple just got married, or they just got married. They're on their honeymoon.
Yep,
they're taking pictures.
That one's fucked. Most of them are fucked.
Oh my god! Do you want me to stop talking about it? I'll stop talking about it.
I refuse to speak about the one where they're talking over video chat.
Oh yeah.
That one is, yeah.
It's a bunch of. By the way, Wang Will, aka Drizzle of this channel, if you haven't seen VHS, no, I won't suggest it. I shouldn't suggest VHS to anybody.
There's more VHS movies. Apparently, some of them are really good. I couldn't give two fucks. The first one fucked me up, and I refused to watch it again.
The second one was.
There's one.
And then there's Light Out, which has
Lights
a bad.
Out.
Oh, Lights Out. Sorry.
He just recommended me that the other night because we were talking about D&D stuff, and he was like, "Have you seen Lights Out? It could be like the monster from Lights Out." And I was like, "I've never seen it. I saw it on streaming though." But yeah, I have a list I'm forming. I really want to watch Sleepaway Camp. The Evil Dead movies are finally on streaming, so I'm gonna watch them soon because I don't know why they weren't available on streaming, and I just want to watch them before they're like not available again for some reason. So I'm probably going to do those next. I do want to watch, at the very least, the second Hellraiser movie, because I was looking online. Apparently, the second one is the best one, the closest to the source material.
Oh, I thought you watched the second one.
I watched the first one. The first one was weird, and I didn't like it. But apparently, the second one's really good. And,
okay.
And
all
it's
right.
like closer to his original
That's
vision.
with Pinhead. That's that
they're
one
all
with Pinhead.
Yeah, Hellraiser's the Pinhead series. But yeah, apparently the second one's really good. And the first and second one are not available free on streaming, but the rest of them are on HBO or something like that, which tells me that they're not as good and they're willing to license them out, but they want people to pay for the first two. And I've seen movies that have done this before. If the second one is so good it makes the first one better somehow, then I'm welcome for that. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Because the first one was not what I thought it was, and it didn't capture my attention as much as I thought it would. But yeah, no, I recommend Freaky. I recommend Babysitter. Babysitter's free on Netflix. So, yeah. And if you saw the new Scream movie, Babysitter, the babysitter is played by Samara Weaving, the girl who gets murdered first in the newest Scream movie.
Okay.
Spoilers: a girl gets murdered at the beginning, and it's unrelated from the rest of the movie.
That would be an awesome. You know what you should do?
Yeah.
You love bingo sheets.
I do love. Sure. Yeah.
You
guess
should
could
make
say that.
a horror movie bingo sheet. Woman gets killed in the first 5 minutes, because that's a trope. You should make a trope bingo
Well, it's
card.
specifically a Scream trope.
No, Jaws opens with a girl being murdered. I'm pretty sure one of the Friday the 13th has to open with a couple being murdered.
Well, yes. Sorry. No, sorry. You're totally right. What I'm referring to is like every Scream movie starts with an unrelated murder. The first 15 minutes is Drew Barrymore running around trying not to get murdered. Oh, she got murdered. And then the rest of the movie happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Every Scream movie starts like that.
No, sure.
But you're right. There is a long running trope of like a lot of movies have the final girl where it's like, I'm the only one left on the island. I killed the thing. But it also has like the first murder.
Yeah.
I think Friday the 13th inexplicably doesn't have. Oh no, it has the campers from the 60s. Never mind. You're totally right. There's always like, yeah. And then in Friday the 13th 2, he specifically goes to the final girl from the first movie's house just to kill her, and then he goes back to Crystal Lake. He walked like halfway across the country just to kill her, and then he did, and then the second
What's more
movie,
horrifying than that?
I guess, right? I got, yeah. Why even make the other 9 Friday the 13th movies? The scariest thing is how far that fucker got with no one stopping him. Did he hold the machete the whole time? And also, why was he still dripping with lake water when he showed up to her house? The end.
I think horror. I think we could manufacture those. I think people would buy those. Buy a pack of horror trope bingo cards.
Yeah.
See how you do.
We have to have at least 2. We have to have like a horror trope and a slasher trope, because movies like Scream and Friday the 13th are almost an entirely different genre than movies like Malignant and Annabelle Creation and all that bullshit. And Paranormal Activity goes over here.
Write
But,
that
like,
shit
Babysitter
down.
Goes over here.
That's like genuinely. We got to write that shit down.
Okay, I'm doing it. Here I go.
Somebody write that shit down, but don't steal it.
I'm doing it. Yeah, this is all TM, Thunder Lightning Gaming, TM.
Oh, now it's recorded. Fuck you. We got it recorded.
It's recorded in perpetuity. We're going to fucking drag you over the legal coals if you just steal our bingo idea.
So take that.
I'm just going to type the words horror movie bingo and then call it a day.
Yeah, no, we'll get the idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I love horror, and horror is either
I love horror, and horror loves me.
Horror is either really good or so bad it's funny, or it's just boring. Some horror movies are just boring. Hellraiser managed to be completely and utterly disturbing and like crazy boring. I don't like Hellraiser is so weird. I do not want to watch the second one, but I will because people say it's better. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. How did you do? What was your week?
I don't even, I'm okay.
Okay.
I think I'm okay.
Okay. Yeah, you wanna call it here because we kind of wanted to keep it short. And,
yeah.
Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe.
Our channel has daily uploads from podcast video essays, Let's Plays to skits.
Be sure to watch on Twitch. We stream all our video game and podcast content live at 5 EST every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday.
Our intro is by Brad Kendrick and music by Froggy and the Friendship. Link to all that in the description below.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.